control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about a very common TikTok, YouTube trend on social media that men steal women's beauty, their health, and everything simply by marrying them and having children with them. Okay, before we get into it, let's address this. I have curly hair. I straighten it regularly, okay? All right. I didn't feel like doing my hair, and this is what happens. All right. So, okay. So, I'm going to show you guys the clip first, so then we can talk about what let's see.
Toxic relationships don't just hurt you emotionally, they can literally drain the life out of you. Some of these women look like they've been completely depleted. People don't realize how these relationships can strip you of your spirit, not just your joy or love, but that little piece of you that keeps you going. This kind of content is powerful because it spreads awareness and helps others recognize the signs in their own lives. Yes, some parts might seem funny or relatable at first, but deep down, it's really sad. It's painful to see how many women have been through this. Some of these men will have you looking like a whole man. They will drain you to the point that you start losing your softness, your radiance, your very essence. Watching this is genuinely triggering. These women aren't just acting, this is their reality. Some people said they might be exaggerating. Nothing about it feels exaggerated or fake to me. It's raw, it's real, and it's something we need to bring more awareness to.
You cannot self-abandon. This is what happens when people keep getting in relationships and they totally forget about themselves.
That trend where it's like every time I reconsider dating somebody, I remember how my ex had me looking is astonishing. But also, it is reiterating something that I try and tell all the women in my lives all the time. Men are detrimental to women's health, like almost as bad as cancer. They will sit and take your soul, your entire life force, all of your love, all of your beauty, and leave you with nothing and let you wither away. Like time and time again, they are detrimental to women's health. You have to find it that genuinely gives you something you cannot give yourself. Like as a woman, as a man observing women, you have to find a man that will give you something, because I promise you, women can supply their own stuff. Men, women, they can figure it out. Men, they need you. They are preying on you. They are leeching off of you like demons. Release them.
Have you ever noticed how some women start to lose their feminine glow the longer they're in certain relationships? It's like they slowly begin to resemble the very partner they're with, and not in a good way. That's what happens when you choose the wrong kind of partner. A parasite. There's this whole trend of people saying, I'm healed and ready for my next relationship, but then I remember how my ex had me looking last time, and that alone is proof. If you're going to date men, if you're going to be in relationships with men, you need to make sure you're actually getting what you need out of it. Make sure you're receiving whatever you need to stay feminine, refreshed, and rejuvenated. It's so important to recognize when you're in the presence of a parasitic man. These kinds of men will check you, test you, and push your boundaries just to see how much they can get away with. That's how they decide how much they can take from you. These types don't want to pour into you. They want to feed off of you. They'll test your boundaries early on, not out of curiosity, but to see how much access they can get and how little they can give. That's why you have to pay attention. These tests aren't harmless, they're strategic. The moment you feel like someone is seeing how much they can get from you without giving anything back, that's your sign. Don't ignore it. You don't need to wait for more disrespect or more signs to validate your gut feeling. If it feels off, it probably is.
Y'all know that trend on TikTok when they be like, oh, I want to get in a new relationship, but I remember how my old relationship had me looking, and you scroll over and they look tore up, they look tore down. That was not a relationship. That was just a harvesting ground to cipher your energy, honey. I hate to tell you that. The minute that you start feeling ugly, drained, and anything like that in any kind of relationship, you are being ciphered. Your energy is being drained from your body, literally. I've seen women look great, and I had to ask, hey, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I had to ask other people around me, because I know when you incline and you like into with different things, you see different things. No, they look gray. It's like having a cup. You pouring into the other person, pouring into the other person. But then you realize eventually, oh, dang, I don't got nothing for myself. But you're so dehydrated, tired, and drained, you can't even walk. You got to pull yourself to the source to get yourself something, because you've given everything to that person, but you ain't got nothing for yourself. That's what those pictures look like. Okay? That person will have an over porridge in the cup that you gave it, but they will not be pouring anything into your cup. Run. All that trend told you is that's how bad women energy gets ciphered. And men, I'm not gonna say it's only just women, men too. But don't you as soon as take a break. I'm not gonna say that your emotions not valid in any kind of like situations like relationships, they get tricky. But what I will say is take a break. Give yourself a week or two to pour into yourself and see how your vitality comes back. And then you'll know if that person is really ciphering your energy. You wouldn't even want to be around that person. You'd be like, oh, this is what I look like when I'm pouring into myself. Yes, get away from them. They're leeches, sucking you dry. You'll look like a damn dust bowl by the time you're done. Get away.
For everybody doing that trend, I want to be in a relationship, but the last one had me looking like, and then they insert a picture of not their finest hour. I want to tell you why you look like the life is drained out of you, your hair looks thin, and the color from your skin is changed. Obviously, this does not account for everybody because there are people that are just glowing in their relationship. But if you're not that person, the reason is because that person, the one that you have been dating, is actually feeding off of your energy. This is why I stress all the time. It's so important to do soul tie removal, so important to remove cords. That person's energy is leeching off of you. What you don't know is that whenever we enter into an intimate relationship with a significant other, whatever, it doesn't even need to be a significant other. It could literally just be somebody that we have ourselves a time with once. There is an energy exchange. And the longer you keep reinforcing that energy exchange, the more energy the person is taking out of you, especially if they are on a lower vibration. Now, your energy is not used to keeping up with theirs, and our body will always physically reject anything that is not for us, including partners, family members, anything. Any type of energy that is not for us, our body will physically reject. So when you're in a relationship and you look like it is not your finest hour, that is your body physically rejecting that other person's energy. If you are getting sick constantly around them, if you are getting headaches constantly around them, these are all signs that your body is physically rejecting their energy. And even after you break up, you still have to cut those cords and you still have to remove those soul ties. So there is not a link between you and them, because through that link, they're sucking you dry.
You ever notice how your face changed after getting into a certain relationship? Puffy, bloated, tired looking? Like you don't even recognize yourself anymore? That's not just aging. That can be a cortisol face. When you're in a constant state of stress, your body releases excess cortisol. Over time, chronically elevated cortisol can cause fluid retention, inflammation, and fat redistribution, especially in the face, neck, and belly. That puffy, swollen look, it's your body trying to keep you alive through stress. Cortisol isn't the villain. It's a warning signal, a reaction to emotional chaos. Your body is literally shifting shape under the pressure of a toxic connection. You might also notice weight gain, constant fatigue, yeast infections that won't go away or come often, or anxiety and even depression. Your spirit is being drained. Not every man is sent to love you. Some come to steal your light, drain your power, and block your blessings. Sometimes your body will reveal the truth before your heart is ready to accept it. That's not just stress. That's your body screaming, he's not good for you. And sometimes the most powerful detox you can do is cutting him off.
Stress from a bad relationship actually ages you faster than if you were smoking cigarettes. You have to decide if this relationship is not only worth the time you're wasting, but is it worth the wrinkles? When you are under stress, your body's telomeres, which protect your DNA from aging, are broken down at a much faster rate. But if you are relaxed and you are in a good relationship, you will slow down your aging process. You're not just wasting the time that you're with them. You are literally shortening your life.
This is incredibly concerning on so many levels.
It's crazy how toxic relationships will literally change your appearance. It's something that I noticed overall, just because like in the last 6 months, I really had started feeling really lost and like not even recognizing myself. To the point of like looking at old pictures and I'm like, who is that person? This is the day that my relationship started. It's giving like she's a baddie, she knows she's a 10. I swear at that time period in my life, I was so confident. My self-love was like through the roof. This is me just a couple weeks ago. I mean, I definitely gained some weight through the relationship, but I literally scrolled through my camera roll. There's not one photo or video where I'm showing my full face. Even thinking back, like over the last few months, like it's been really hard for me to smile in like pictures or videos and stuff. And I used to go out like every weekend and take pictures and videos to create content for social media. I could feel like my self-worth like diminishing. I was like embarrassed to be like who I am as a person. I started like covering myself up more, wearing like really loose clothes, and just kind of became a little bit insecure in myself because of the situation that I was in. And like it's crazy to look at these pictures and see how stressed I look in all these like recent videos and pictures. Like I just look so unhappy. And then I look at like old pictures and like the energy that I'm radiating in those photos, like I miss her.
The more you heal from that last relationship, the more clearly you see him for who he really was. Not a strong, solid man, but someone pretending to be. Someone who only looked confident when he was standing next to your light. He couldn't hold a deep conversation. Everything about him was surface level old stories, shallow interests, and talk about who he used to be. There was never anything new, nothing meaningful. He chased the superficial because he couldn't handle anything real. You, on the other hand, brought substance. You have depth, beauty, intelligence, and strength. Being with you made him look good. You gave him style. You made sure he looked put together because you don't walk beside chaos in public, but he didn't appreciate it. Instead of being grateful, he used you. He used your light to attract other women who feed on drama, who don't care about loyalty, who fight over someone not even worth it. He entertained all of them, using your presence to make himself look better. But here's the thing. Healing gives you clarity. Once your mind clears, you start wondering what you ever saw in him. You look back and think, was I under a spell? The truth is, you're waking up. You're rising above the mess. Real love doesn't make you abandon your common sense. It doesn't make you lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who was never really showing up for you. Infatuation comes fast. It plays games, lies, and pulls you into fantasy. Real love is different. It's steady, honest, and rooted in reality. So don't look back. You're not blind anymore. You're not pouring your heart into someone who couldn't even bring peace. You're no longer building up men who can't even meet you where you are. You see him now for what he truly is. A parasite fading away as you continue to grow and heal.
What a beautiful documentary on women. I don't know. Anyway, so before we go on, this is dandelion, ginger, botanical sparkling tea. I'm supposed to drink dandelion. I don't know. It's good for your liver or something. Anyways, so this is my favorite comment today. So let's keep this for a few minutes. Anyways, so this is a very common trend, and I, as someone who keeps up with everyone from high school and all coworkers from all my old jobs, I am very much only once in a while. Don't worry about it. I hardly drink it. So anyways, so since I keep up with everybody, I'm able to see people through all the phases in their lives. And you can kind of tell when someone has like a good relationship and a bad relationship. And one of the signs that I see with like a good relationship is they're both always like very happy in the photos with their eyes, but sometimes they do tend to gain a little bit of weight together, but not like an obscene amount of weight, just a little bit of happy weight, like they're enjoying their lives or not as serious, whatever. I mean, and that's normal. All throughout history, people have gotten a little bit of weight, just a little bit, not like 30, 40 pounds, but like 10, 15 pounds after they got married or after they had kids. Having children also gives men and women weight gain, just the child carrying stress of that. That's very common. It's not a big deal, right? Oh my God. So anyways, so while like that was always common, especially like menopause, or when you get really old, people tend to slow down and they tend to gain weight or get puffy or whatever. That's been normal throughout history, but we've always expected that. But what they're trying to say now is they're like in their 20s and their 30s, and they are seeing very dramatic changes to how they look. So we're going to go into some reasons for that. And then I'm going to give my opinion from what I've seen with real world examples from real people that I probably shouldn't be talking about, but they don't know. And I'm not mentioning names, so it should be fine. Should be fine. So anyways, with marriage comes chronic stress from new responsibilities. So women now have household management. Before, they just had to take care of themselves, which is pretty much what women nowadays, modern women, can barely do, right? We can barely take care of ourselves. But now they have to take care of a husband and maybe kids. So now it's too much. And usually, modern times, they're working too. So then there's sleep disruption. This has been studied a lot and people take it for granted, but sleeping in the bed with someone, especially for women, because women have a very hard time shutting down noise. So if your husband snores or tosses and turns or makes any sort of noise at nighttime, women can't sleep. Men can usually sleep really, really good. But women have evolved for like every little teeny tiny sound to jump up. And if they don't get to make up for those hours by sleeping longer, than a man, then they're just going to have sleep deprivation, and it's going to compound, and sleep deprivation compounded causes hormone problems, elevated cortisol levels, fluid retention, weight gain, puffy under eye bags, puffiness around, your jawline, everything puffy, your lymphatics gets puffy, everything gets swollen. Then you start getting cellulite and stuff like that. All of that is from lack of good sleep. So the other thing is, obviously, if you're a single woman, you can very clearly sleep in on the weekends. You don't have to wake up to feed your family. You don't have to wake up to spend time with your family, with your kids. You can just crawl out of bed in the afternoon on the weekend so you can make up a little bit, kind of make up. I mean, technically you can't make up for lack of sleep, but you can repair some of the damage by sleeping in on the weekends. People in relationships, they usually cannot sleep in, especially if they have children, or if one of the partners is a night person and the other one's like a day person, and there's like this mismatch. It can be really, really stressful on the body when it comes to sleep. So how can we combat this, right? All right. How about understanding before you get married that women need more hours of sleep. All the sleep research was done on men. Men need 7 to 8 hours of sleep to be functional. Remember, this is because they did a lot of studies on how can we get the most out of our slaves. And since we're the slaves, they're like, what's the minimum that we can get them to sleep so we can suck the most labor out of them before it gets detrimental on our labor. And they came up with, for men, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's the minimum what we can allow the men to have for them to be able to function adequately, at least for the 20, 30 years that we want them working for us, and then they'll die off quickly, right? So that's what these research studies were actually trying to figure out. They have never done them on women, but when they finally got around to do it on women, they realized, hey, if women need to sleep 11 hours a night and more on their periods in order for them to not have mental health breakdowns and weight gains and all this stuff. So imagine it's like the first time somebody does studies on it, they're like, oh my gosh, women need to sleep. Okay, what's going on here? What do you guys? Well, it is what it is. You can watch it later. I don't know. I can't time it like him. I got stuffs to do. Anyways, so other than like the sleep issue, which we can, again, this is how we fix it in my family, is I get to sleep in. I don't obviously work, so I have that benefit other people don't have, but I sleep in, and at nighttime, my husband, when I had, young babies, he would bring the baby to me, like if the baby cried or something like that. So I didn't have to get up and I could like kind of like sleep through feedings. You know what I mean? It's a thing. I remember my mom said that when she had me, that my dad was so amazing. She never heard me go like, wah, like nothing. She never heard a sound out of me, because if I even tossed and turned a little bit in my crib, my dad would go and pick me up, put me next to her, and I could like, feed or whatever. And then he would put me back. So she didn't have to get up. She didn't even have to wake up. So that's why my mom was 100 pounds even after I would, even like 20 years later, right? And then of course that relationship took a nosedive, and then she got with somebody else and he was not like that. So of course she had to work. He did not get up because he was more like, I'm not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. And she did gain some weight and some bloating, digestion issues. She eventually like lost it, and then she had to go do shift work at another job, and then she gained that stuff back. But she's still relatively thin and healthy, but she could have been better. Yes. Anyways, so other than sleep, the other thing is on the weekends, my husband lets me sleep in, and he handles breakfast. He also eats breakfast. I don't. So, and we immediately, the second the kids can walk, they have to make their own breakfast. That's the first thing that like I'm teaching them how to cook, how to handle themselves. Oh, you need something, this is how you do it. Like, I do not believe in like serving children. Once you can walk and talk and stuff like that, here you get the chair, you pull it up, you put this in the toaster, you put that, this is how you make an egg really quick. And my kid has been poaching eggs and everything, like 7 years old, right? So, all right. Anyway, so I get to sleep in and I don't have to do breakfast. That's the only thing. I do lunches and dinners. That's it. All right. Then there is a post-wedding emotional crash, which I didn't hear about this before or whatever, but apparently like sometimes when people, because I didn't really like look forward to the wedding. I wanted to have the cheapest, easiest, quickest wedding possible. I didn't with the least amount of people, but a lot of women really put a lot of weight into their weddings and how big and beautiful and expensive and glorious they are. And when you have that type of like peak type of emotion after it's over and you're never going to do that again, then you can have like a massive depression. That's just a some women thing, but it's one of those things that can happen, and it can trigger adrenal fatigue and cortisol production, which can make them gain weight. So having a really happy event can make them gain weight. That's not funny, but moving on. Okay, dietary changes. This is a huge one, and it was a huge one for me. It's why I gained weight. And people say more processed foods, but I never ate processed foods. My husband never ate processed food. That was not our problem. The problem was he's a big man. I'm a tiny woman, right? He eats way more food, way more often, way different types of foods that are good for his body. And I eat way less often, and way different types of foods that were good for my body. But what happens is when you're cooking for somebody else at that time, I'm not going to make something for him and then a couple hours later make something for me. I mean, I did that for a few years and I burnt out really quickly, even though I was able to keep in shape. But as soon as I was like, I got tired of making 3 meals a day because the kids wanted this, the husband wanted this, and I know I can only eat that without gaining weight. It was way too much cooking. I couldn't do anything else. So what I ended up doing was making stuff that he likes because that's the dude. And I would just try to have smaller and smaller portions of it, but it didn't kind of work out. And then I found out a lot of the things that are good for his body make me gain weight, make me have autoimmune triggers, make me have like eczema, make me have swelling, digestion issues. Like I was not meant to eat, like I always say this, vegetables. I do not do well with them. It's really horrible. Yes, calm down. Anyways, remember, he also makes his own hours. So he doesn't leave work until like noon. Be mad. I'm just kidding. So anyways, so that's dietary changes. And then the next is reduced exercise. So when you only have to take care of yourself, you can exercise whenever you want, period. So if it's like 2 a.m, you want to go exercise, you could do that. If it's like whatever, you don't have to cook for anyone else. You don't have to clean anything. You don't have to, whatever. You can be totally selfish, right? And exercise whenever the heck you want. So for women, especially because they have different hormone cycles, they can't always plan out things. So it has to be like how they feel at that time. If you feel good, run or exercise or lift or whatever it is that you do. But when you have responsibilities, now you can't do that at the times where you're physically capable of doing that. So then you kind of delay it. And then it doesn't happen. So that's really hard for people to deal with. And then they go, okay, look, I can't exercise when I want to. So that's why the gym memberships don't tend to work out for women unless they're single and they have free time. And then they end up getting classes because it's like they have to go at this specific time, blah, 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 no matter what. And that's when they end up doing HIIT, which is high intensity interval training, which has been found to give women hormonal problems, make them gain weight, water weight, thyroid issues, high cortisol, the whole thing. So they are exercising at specific times the wrong way, gaining weight from it. And then they're like, I don't understand. Maybe I need to take a second class, which in turn makes them more stressed, gain more weight, get more puffy, and then the hair starts falling. It's a big thing. All right. The next one should be obvious, but I don't think women realize it. Pregnancy. You were not, hopefully, pregnant before you got married. Hopefully. These days, things have changed. But let's say you only got pregnant after you got married, all right? Now we have pregnancy hormones. Elevated progesterone and cortisol happen after pregnancy and can lead to extreme weight gain and fluid retention, also heart problems, health problems, a whole bunch of things. So that's why there is most cultures, except for the West, because we're screwed up the most, yay, there is a 40 to 50 day relaxation recovery period for every single mother, right? In these 40 to 50 days, they are not allowed to get up out of bed except to go to the bathroom, and they have to immediately sit down. They're not allowed to pick anything up, including a baby. They're not allowed to do anything. And during this time, this is every culture, right? If you go give birth in Japan, you are not able to get up. Someone will come and bring the baby for feeding to the boob and then remove the baby, go wash the baby, clean the baby, take care of the baby while the mother rests. You are not supposed to get up. You have a large American size, dinner plate size wound in your body. And a lot of times what happens is because American culture is go, 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 women cannot rest and lay down. You have to lay flat for it to heal properly. When you don't lay flat so it can heal properly, you're going to get a lot of scar tissue in the wrong places. This can cause problems with your intestines, with your organs, and just the healing in general is going to not be done properly, which cause chronic inflammation. So now you have a lot of inflammation going on here. And if you miss this period of rest and relaxation, you can't get it back later. So when your kid's 3 or 4, you can't sleep for 60 days. You can't do that. You're screwed. It's over. So that's why you'll see a big difference between women who have a support system and somebody comes from the family, the parents, the grandparents, whatever, somebody comes and takes care of the baby for the first 40 days. You'll see that woman bounces back magically. And then the women who don't have that, they can either become like very thin, like in a sick way, or very swollen and overweight, also in a sick way. So you have to be very careful with that. And this is a normal process in Latin American culture. You are not supposed to leave a woman after before the first 50 or so days alone. It's like unheard of to leave a woman. That's basically like telling a woman to give birth in the woods and like figure it out. You know what I mean? You could, but it's not gonna be good. Anyways, it's not really healthy to leave a woman without being able to heal from this and expected to like live a full life. Like it's going to lower your life expectancy, which we already know has happened in the West. So what are you going to do? Anyways, so during these first few, weeks or whatever, if there's no support system, the dad has to step in. So if the parents are not available because the boomer parents or whatever the new grandparents of the Gen X or whatever the new grandparents are generation, if they're not available or they're too sick and ill because they didn't take care of themselves so they can't help, or they're too selfish and narcissistic because that's how the generations were before, then you're going to have nobody to help the women. And then the women are like, everybody looks so sick after they have children. Why would I want to look so sick? And this is where all the fear comes from online, because they don't know why everyone looks so terrible. Not everyone, but usually the working class, lower classes. Why do they look so sick and terrible? These are the reasons. Okay, so pregnancy hormones aside, let's go to postpartum thyroid dysfunction. This is another fun one, right? So thyroiditis after childbirth disrupts your metabolism, causes weight gain, causes puffiness, fluid retention, all the things that make all those girls in those videos look terrible, right? So if you are angry because you look like that, you're going to blame whoever's around you, your husband, your kids, whoever's closest. If you look hideous, like a little monster, you're going to look around and be like, it's all your fault. I looked great before all of you came around me. That's why, like, when a woman's on her period, you don't say anything, because she's going to twist it and make some argument. Just be quiet. So when a woman is sick and feels bad about herself, don't say anything. She's going to make it about you. It's going to be your fault. It is what it is. That's how we were made. Next, you have birth control. Birth control. So most women have never been off birth control until after they get married. Birth control changes and whacks your brain. It's brain damage. So like when you come off of it, you don't like the same people, you don't eat the same. Suddenly you start getting a lot of water retention. You start getting massive weight gain, massive stress, anxiety, anger issues. You start getting period pains. You start not being able to sleep well, because these birth control pills have basically stopped your body from knowing how to regulate. You're supposed to learn to regulate in your teens and early 20s. And if at any point in this time period you get on the birth control pill and you stop that process from happening, your body will never learn how to regulate the hormones. So now you have someone who's chronically ill and hormonally off for the rest of their life. And also, we all know that it causes you to not like people that you did when you were on the birth control, when you're off the birth control. So then, these women are like, I don't like him anymore. He's the one who made me swollen and puffy and ugly. I hate you. And then, of course, when they break up with them and they go to become single again, they get back on the birth control, the weight drops off, and they go, see, I was right. It was him. But they don't see the correlation. So don't date someone on birth control. Period. End of story. Period. End of story. Because it just, that's where it's going to end. That's the logical ending of dating someone on birth control is they're going to get off of it to have a kid with you, and they're going to hate you. They're going to blow up with weight. They're going to leave you. And then they're going to take the birth control again so that they can bang the next guy. And then they're going to look beautiful again, and they're going to blame it on you. But I mean, it is what it is. So then we have increased alcohol consumptions. So a lot of times when people get married, social drinking with the spouse can rise. Women do not do well with alcohol. Men do terrible with it. They can kind of mitigate the effects for longer. But eventually, once you hit 40 or so, as a man, you should stop drinking completely because it's never going to be, it's not going to end well. But for women in their 20s and 30s, if they even have alcohol then, they're going to boost their cortisol and destroy their liver. Their livers are already dealing with hormones from being a woman. So you cannot add alcohol to being a woman. You can't. We cannot have alcohol. Period. End of story. I'm sorry. How about this alcohol or this one? Maybe low sugar, maybe this. No, you can't have any alcohol ever at all. Period. End of story. It is going to destroy your body. The end. All right. And it leads to abdominal fat, high cortisol, blah, blah, blah. Then you have emotional eating. So now they are stuck in a space with maybe like kids running around, and they don't have any support because we were never meant to raise children alone. Women are social. So think of hens in the hen house. That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the male is kind of like working around, kind of like gives them space, just make sure no predators come, but just kind of leaves the girls to their own devices. And the girls yap to each other all day and hang around and whatever. And females, humans, as well as chickens, their hormones get regulated when they're hanging out together in a relaxed setting. So the man deals with the stress so the women can relax and chit chat, right? This chit chat that women have collectively when they're hanging out with their chicks, raising their babies and stuff together, it actually regulates their hormones, lowers their cortisol, lowers their stress, takes the weight right off, takes the swelling and inflammation down, extends their life. It does all of these wonderful magical benefits because women need to be with other women. So if you isolate a woman where she cannot commingle with other women all day with the children, now she's going to be alone and her stress chemicals are going to go up because there's no other women around, right? And usually during the day, there's not even a man around because let's say he's working when you're with young children, right? So her stress hormones are going to go up. The other thing is, you know how like a lot of women like to socialize with other women, right? When that is taken away because maybe the other women get jealous because they're not married, and like this girl is married and now they don't want to hang out with her, she's going to lose her hen group, right? And now her hormones are going to go off because women need other women in their circle at least once a week for 2-3 hours. So if a woman is not meeting with other women for 2-3 hours a week, her hormones will be off, which is wild, right? You think, wait, I can be alone as a man and do like what I need to do, but women biologically cannot be alone. Which is, that's why they talk so much, because that's how they survive. They need to talk to other women, and the other women are like, this is what they need so they can regulate their hormones and shed pounds. So you'll see women who have still some social circles where they get to mingle and raise their children with other women will be fine. But when you have a woman who's doing it all at home but alone, she's going to have more weight gain, even if she's a great woman. Blah. All right. Then you have the shift in the circadian rhythm. So if you get married, this happened to me, it's still happening. If you get married, guys don't usually like to sleep when women like to sleep. Like my husband, he likes to stay up until midnight. I always needed to be in bed by 8:30 p.m. But if I did that, he would be home at like 7 or whatever, eat his dinner, and I would be in bed like right after dinner, maybe. You know, sometimes he gets home at 8, so I would already be like getting ready for bed, and I would miss him completely. I would never see my husband if I didn't shift to his schedule. So I had to go, if I sleep at 8:30, I get to lose all the weight and I feel great, but then I have no relationship with him because he's only able to hang out with me at night between like 8 and midnight, right? So if I give that up, I don't have a relationship with them. But if I don't give it up, now I'm going to have weight issues, inflammation issues, stress issues just by changing the clock. Women need to go to bed really, really early. Always remember that. And the older you get, the earlier you need to go to bed. I know it's terrible. So we kind of miss each other, right? When this happens. Thank you, Imperious. I'm very happy to hear that. All right, so then we have relationship conflicts. So this is more like what they were talking about in the video, relationship conflicts. Now, if any of the other things that I mentioned happen, that can create relationship conflicts. So now you're going to have arguments or tension about, and that's going to deregulate your HP axis and then give you a chronically elevated cortisol. So if you're fighting about money, if you're fighting because the woman can't sleep, the woman's off birth control, the woman doesn't have female friends that are good and healthy to be around with, all of these reasons and more, she will take it out on you. If she is stress eating because she wants to sit up with you all night and you're snacking and you can handle that because you're a man, you can burn more calories, you've done more physical labor, let's say you have one of those type of jobs, and she wants to act like you because she wants to bond with you. Then she starts doing this and now she blows up and now she feels bad about herself and now she's taking it out on you. So that's how that happens. Then you have the loss of independence. And a lot of my friends have experienced this where usually when it's just the two of them being married, it's fine. But as soon as they add children into the mix and the guy's like, okay, you can't go hang out with your friends after work. No, you can't go to get coffee and brunch on the weekends because we have to take care of the babies. And then the chicks lose their mind. Now, in their defense, they should still have female time, but we should make a world where females come over with their children and all hang out as a group. And what we're not doing now, which we used to do in the 80s. In the 80s, I remember my mom and all of her friends, they all got pregnant in their early 20s, late teens, like from 18 to like 22, almost every single one of my mom's friends had babies. So they're all with babies, they're all married, and we would just have barbecues. All the kids would be together, the women would be chit-chatting, the men would be over there chit-chatting, barbecuing, and the children would be all playing. That's how we grew up. So the the women got their chances to, then they were way less stressed and they were very thin their whole lives. So, I mean, it really was kind of nice. But we've lost all of that because now women don't want to have children until they're very old. And by that time, you know, some of their friends had them, maybe some of their friends can't have them. So they're not really having children together. Not having children together is what destroys women's health the most, because they need somebody else with young children constantly around them with also their children. All right. Then we have the caregiver load. Before modern times, you'd have grandma and grandpa because they were retired and they were young enough. And they are basically the ages of the new mothers and fathers. Grandma and grandpa there were 40-year-olds. Think about that. 40-year-old grandma and grandpa were helping raise the kids. Now we have 40-year-old mom and dad, and grandma and grandpa are like geriatric or gone. So we always had that. So I didn't have grandparents, but all my friends had grandparents living in the home, elderly parents. They would build like an efficiency attached to the house, and you'd see grandma and grandpa, or just grandma if grandpa passed, or just grandpa if grandma passed. And there'd always be a grandparent in the house. So if the mom needed to go to a doctor's appointment, she didn't need a babysitter. If the mom needed to go to the spa, if the mom needed a facial, if the mom needed to go do something with her friends, or to sit outside with her friends quietly and have someone watch the children so that the adults, moms, could talk without kids interrupting them, because that happens. Grandparents were like on it, like right there, like, oh, the moms need to talk. Let's take the kids and let's take them to the park, take them to the swing set, whatever. And they would do that. It was like instinctual. I remember tons of parties with my parents and their friends, and the grandparents would take us to the kitchen. And now, of course, they would give us like the strongest coffee you could ever imagine. And we're little kids and we're just like hyped up. It was 50% coffee and 50% sugar. And they're just giving us one after the other. I don't know why, but that's what the Hispanic grandparents did to keep the children entertained. They gave us like ADHD. I don't know. But we had fun, and we were sitting and chit chatting, and parents were having fun. So we don't have that nowadays. If you try to take your kids to your friend's party and see like how you'll get chewed out for that, especially if their kids are grown or they're not the same age, they're going to freak out because this is an anti-natalist culture now because everybody has kids late or not at all. And then you have societal pressures, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to talk about that one because I don't believe in that. But let's just say, okay, the next one is autoimmune flares like Hashimoto's, whatever. When you have any of the other things happen that causes stress, you're prone to Hashimoto's, you can get that. So any sort of hormonal shifts, getting married, getting off birth control, having a child, moving into a home that has mold or some sort of problems, or living by a very loud street can destroy women's hormones, believe it or not, because they never reach deep sleep, even though they think they are. And then it can lead them to mental health issues, hormonal issues, weight gain issues. So try to find a home that's very quiet at night with no light pollution, as they call it. The next one is your parents are going to get old and die, right? So what happens when your parents get old and die, or grandma and grandma are like, I'm sorry, honey, I can't help you, or I need help. I need to move in with you. And then now this generation is like, well, I don't have an extra bedroom for grandma and grandpa to move in like the previous generations because we're in an apartment. Right. And then now grandma and grandpa are living in the living room or whatever. And that's stressful on the marriage. They don't have privacy. They're fighting a lot and they're not sleeping a lot. And that's making stress. And maybe the parents are getting too involved in the relationships and destroying that. That's more like a Latin thing. I'm sure like white people just throw their parents in a home. That's your culture. You guys do you. But yeah, these things can stress out a marriage. And then you have PCOS, which usually gets triggered by getting off the birth control to have kids after having kids, blah, blah, blah. And that's going to be androgen dominant, losing your hair, getting overweight, getting lots of weight loss resistance, because every time you try to lose weight, you gain more weight. And every time you try to fast, you also hold on more water. So then you're either like, it's a mess. So that really requires a doctor. You can't just like lifestyle your way out of that one. And then you have estrogen dominance. It's very similar. And that usually happens from getting on or off birth control, water retention, fat deposits everywhere. And that can be like environmental, something you're putting on your skin. It could be mold. It could be not sleeping generally. That'll cause it. PCOS and estrogen dominance and androgen overload, that usually happens from women not going to bed early over time. So you can maybe get away with it in your 20s, early 30s. And then after that, it's like your body's like, nope, you better go to bed early, honey. You're going to go right down this dark path. Okay, the next one is gut dysbiosis. So dietary shifts, like when you share meals with a husband that has a completely different diet, that could disrupt your gut health and increase inflammation and cortisol. All right. Sedentary lifestyle. So maybe you have more time at home, less time going out with friends, less time exploring, less time walking, right? Maybe your spouse doesn't want to walk with you after dinner. Maybe, you don't want to walk alone in your neighborhood. And before you used to live in a place that was safer and you could walk at different times. And now because of the environmental situation, or there's no one to watch the kid and the kid doesn't want to walk, or the kid screams when you put him in the baby carriage, things like that happen. So just being sedentary or stuck inside the house can make women have not only just mental health issues, but that leads to weight gain. And I already talked about sleep, like sleeping next to someone who's snoring. That can cause, also the women can have sleep apnea. Just if they gain weight, let's say they gain weight from something else, their hormones are off, they can get sleep apnea. So they're not sleeping and maybe they're making their spouse not sleep. Everybody's getting less attractive. Then we have depression and anxiety. So it's all the same. Okay, next one, allergies or sensitivities. So a new environment, a partner's pet or your pet, or a new pet you purchase together. We got a hamster, I got hives. It's not fun. So those things can happen. The next is menstrual cycle changes, you're going to go through perimenopause. And guess what's going to happen? Your progesterone's going to maybe go low. Your estrogen's maybe going to go low. Your cortisol is going to fluctuate. You're going to gain lots of weight. And if you don't sleep more, again, you're going to have problems. Vitamin D deficiency, you're not getting outside. You're working and going home, working and going home. You're not outside. As a woman, you will go insane. It raises cortisol and inflammation. The next one is financial stress. Let's say you marry someone who doesn't let you spend money on the things that you were spending it before. So a lot of women, they take really good care. Like, I'm talking about beautiful women, not like regular. So like the beautiful hot women you see on the Instagrams, the ones that are not filtered, they're just beautiful. What can happen with them, and I've seen this, is they'll get with a guy who's a really nice guy, but now he's like, oh, you can't spend money on facials, your hair, your makeup, your gym is too expensive. This is too expensive. All that's too expensive. We have to save money for the children. So the women get depressed. They're not doing the things that kept them pretty and hot. And then they just start deteriorating really rapidly. And of course, then they leave the guy and then they get to do the things again. And then they look better again. And they blame the guy, which it is also financial pressures of if you can't really always afford kids and all the things. So these are things you need to talk about before you get married. Like, look, this is what I want to do. This is how much it costs. If we cannot agree to incorporate this in marriage, then maybe you don't get married. But people don't want to talk about things like, this is what I need to be healthy. This is what I need to be mentally okay. This is how much it costs. I do not want to give this up because you like me because I look like this, and I look like this because I do this and this and that. And I've seen a lot of husbands get really mad. Like, we cannot pay for the gym. Your trainer's too expensive. This is too much. And I don't want to pay for your supplements and blah, 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 blah. And then they get huge because they're stressed and they're not doing the things that kept them looking well and healthy. And then we have the lymphatic stagnation, reduced movement, higher stress. That's going to cause lymphatic problems. That's when you're puffy under your arms, you're puffy around your neck, you're puffy under your eyes, your kidneys could be backed up, you're dehydrated. Maybe you don't have time to drink enough water because you're working, and then you're taking care of other people, and you don't really women never like drink water. That's like a thing online. They're like, you guys never stop to drink water. And it's usually because women need to be very relaxed and have like a stress-free time where nobody's talking to them, nobody's demanding something. And then their body goes, oh yeah, drink water. So if that doesn't happen because you're constantly running around, then they'll never remember. The next one is hyperthyroidism. So that can... hyperthyroid will make you like thinner, but you're very unhealthy. And then the hypo will make you blow up, also very unhealthy. They both can have like weight issues. All right. So those are the major ones. Now I'm going to talk about some friends. Okay. Let me look at the chat because I haven't been able to look at it. I know you guys are going, thank you. Yes. Okay. I am Persian and Cuban, bro. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. How you going? Hey. If you really listen, it's not men's fault. Hormones, stress, not being around other women, birth control pills, a stressful life environment, not having grandparents to help with the thing, or having grandparents in a small space. There's lots of things. It's not really men. The men are just getting all the blame because they are the ones who are there, taking the brunt of the brute force of their anger. Yes. Nobody knows. Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is true. What's up, Jess? All right, let's see. It is a cat with a tinfoil hat. All right. Yes, I know. Okay, I don't speak this. What is this? What is this? Does Anson speak some weird languages? Anyways, so I'm going to talk about some things that I have experienced in my life by observing my friends. Okay, so then we have one girl, gorgeous girl, beautiful face, very gorgeous. If I would put a picture of her, you guys would say at least an 8, right? She's an 8. She's very beautiful. And she married a guy. He's a very nice guy. He's very cute. Oh, okay. She wasn't mid. She was an 8. I cannot post a picture of somebody without their permission, but she was an 8. Okay. Anyways, so she got married to this guy. Problem, in my opinion, I'm just going to say what I feel. Oh my, St. Piers, can you calm down? How do I delete this? St. Piers is such a skank. Anyways, so she got married, blah, blah, blah. They did not talk about these things before they got married. She was on birth control. Then they decided to have children. She got off the birth control. She blew up, right? And she's like, I don't feel comfortable like this. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I should get healthy before I have the baby, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, do it now. So then she gets pregnant. She has a baby. She was like, I want to say 98 pounds, right? She's not short like me, but she's like 98 pounds. She's not too tall. She's like a normal size. What's a normal size? 5'6" or something? That's normal woman. Anyways, and she's like 98 pounds, but like gorgeous girl, gorgeous face. And then she blew up to, I don't know what blowing up is, but I would say at least 45 pounds additional with the first baby. So it did not look good. And she was very, very, very stressed out. So then she did everything wrong. She stopped eating, which of course raised her cortisol even more, put her into like a PCOS type of situation where then she got really high androgens, really high estrogen, and that feeds each other. She started losing her hair. Then she got hypothyroidism, lost her hair, got swelling under here, like really bad, swelling here. Her boob swelled from the estrogen dominance, which you might think is good, but if everything around it is swollen, it's not good. So she was huge. She was sick. And then she starts working out, doing HIIT training 3 times a week. She's doing 3 times a week, 1 or 2 hour classes, 3 times a week of HIIT. It was too much. And then she couldn't sleep at night because of all of the hormones. And her husband snores. And he's like, you cannot sleep in the guest room. We're married. It's not good for the relationship, blah, 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 blah. She blew up and she is still so huge. And every time I see her, she's got another autoimmune condition. She's deteriorating. He made her work during her pregnancy. She's 9 months pregnant, right? Huge. And she's swollen. She's on medications. They told her to be on bed rest. And he's like, nah. Get out there and work. And she has a job where she has to like hold heavy equipment and stuff like that, and then walk around for like 8 hours with heavy. Her feet were like this and they were bloody everywhere. I saw her afterwards. I'm just like, normally I would never say break up family, but when you see someone in that type of situation, you're just like, this is mentally insane. Like nobody can survive that. Like that's not cool. The worst part is he made really good money. She supported him through school. So before they had children, she was paying the bills. And then, he's like, as soon as I get my job, it's going to be a good job, some type of doctor, let's say, I won't say it exactly. Then he was going to take over all the responsibilities. And then as soon as he got the job, he's making really good money, blah, blah, blah. He goes, you know what? The economy, and I want a bigger house. So you still have to work full time. And then he wanted another kid. So she's huge. Then she has another kid and another kid. She gets even bigger. She's more stressed. And then he goes to her. He's like, look, you're too big. I'm going to cheat on you if you don't lose some weight. And I'm literally like going to choke this guy. And I'm just like, okay, first of all, this is the thing. She works more hours than him for way less money, but still really good money. Like say 85,000 a year. And he makes 250,000 a year. And he will not like let her stay home. And he's like, I'm not going to give you any money for like going to the gym, nothing. So then she had to like work to go to the gym. It's like crazy. But anyways, so every time we go over there, my husband is like, maybe you should help her a little bit, or maybe you should, like not ask for more and more children when she's already dying. And then, of course, when you find out he has a single mom at home. So his single mom is very masculine. So he likes masculine go-getter type women that cook and clean and work 3 jobs. And his mom was huge too. So he basically turned his wife into his huge stressed out mom who died when she was 46. But that's none of my business. I don't understand. Okay, what's up, homie? It is what it is. Oh my God. Anyways, dude, if you can make 250 and your wife still has to work full-time pregnant, it is his fault. You guys are not infallible. Some guys suck. Some women suck. Some people suck. Some he, hims, they, them suck. Everybody can suck. All right. She did try that and she got something with like a pancreas or something like that. I don't know. I know you guys are perfect. Grazie. They're very beady, but appreciate you. Anyways, so that is all I have for today. Guys, get to the chat and let me know. Do you think it is ever possible that it is ever wrong for a man to make a 8-month pregnant woman with 4 autoimmune conditions severely overweight? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to make her work 2-3 jobs, even if you make 250,000? Just write that in the chat. Like, what do you think? Steven gets his proof of life every Saturday. That's when I let him out of the cave. So, guys, we'll have to wait for that. She's very pretty. Very pretty. Top tier. Find a celeb. Let me think of a celebrity that kind of looks like her. She looks kind of like Snow White. Like what she's supposed to look like, not the stupid celebrity. Snow White. Let me see if I could find like a person that looks like that. Not that actor that they picked. Was there ever? She doesn't look like. No. I can't find anybody who's pretty enough. She has like big, beautiful eyes, gorgeous full lips, a perfect jawline, like a great jawline, high cheekbones. I mean, that's before kids. It's rough out there now. Okay, she kind of looked, but without blue eyes. How did I lose the picture? Dang it. Oh, it's a video. I can't. Maybe on Pinterest I could find anything. Pale woman. Yeah, pale woman with black hair. That's what I need. I'll find one. Okay. Let's see. Which one looks like her? I need a good jawline. I think this one, it's a drawing, but it's the one that I think most looks like her. Let me see if I can show you. All right, she doesn't have blue eyes. So she has brown eyes and black hair and pale skin like this. And this type of jawline. Like, beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. Ghosty? No, shut up. You're just an asshole. Who is this? Is that, I think this is this a real person? I thought it was AI. Anyways, so like this. Anyway, she looks like this, but with brown eyes. I thought she was gorgeous. I know what she looks like, and I know what you're saying, and you're being rude. Alexis Wren. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. It better not be some nude person. It's imperious. She just looks like a basic white girl. This is not like anything. Bro, I was this skinny and you guys said that I looked like I was dying. Anyways, no, oh my God. Fine, I'll show you guys. This is what Simperius jacks off to, I guess. Sabrina Carpenter is 7.8. Without makeup, 7.8, because I don't count with makeup and filters. Who's mid? Sabrina Carpenter? Yeah, I mean, I don't think Sabrina Carpenter's really good looking. Hold on, let me see. Sabrina Carpenter. What about like before fame? Yeah, she's mid. Here we go. But there's nothing wrong with being mid. And she looks like really short. What did she look like before the plastic surgeries and stuff? Okay, so like this. This used to be, you guys, this used to be the average girl in my neighborhood that I used to play with when I was like in elementary school. This was like your regular chick. I probably grew up with like 6 girls that looked just like this. This used to be mid. This used to be, I guess now it's not mid. I guess this is like a 9 now. So the world just has changed. I mean, the world has changed. Yeah, she's my height. Very cute. Ah, yes. Let's see. Jesus. Let me stop sharing just in case it gets weird. All right. Let me just, you guys. Yeah, so this is probably like the new mid. So this is Sabrina Carpenter has now been bumped up to like a 9. And this is the new mid, American female. Enjoy. Good luck, guys. Anyways, okay. So that's all for today. I gotta go and cook and do stuff. So remember, these are the reasons why when you get married, if you don't take care of all these things, you're woman is going to get huge, and she could end up blaming you and then making TikToks about how you stole her beauty and that you are a demon siphoning her energy just because she got off birth control, she had a child, life is stressful, blah, 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 blah. You're not, I mean, if you're not letting her sleep because you're snoring, that is on you. So I'm going to throw that over there. Oh, my goodness. Anyways. Okay. So it's been fun, guys. See you all next time. Bye.
Television screen.